Chris Bachalo's work is instantly recognizable. A frenetic, cartoonish, and hyper detailed style that feels like a beautiful explosion on the page. But what makes his art so special, and sometimes polarizing? Controlled chaos is a bit of a contradiction, and that's precisely the point. Bachalo's pages don't just contain chaos, they are chaos. But a chaos that's meticulously designed and carefully controlled to achieve a specific effect. He's a master at subverting the most fundamental rules of comics, the panel itself. To see this in action, we're going to use a perfect example, a page from the very beginning of Nonstop Spider Man #1. This entire series was designed to be this unrelenting, fast paced ride, and Bachalo's art is the engine. By the end, you're not only going to understand what makes this page so unique, but also be able to appreciate the method behind the madness. Before we can appreciate how Bachalo breaks the rules, we need to understand what those rules are. If you've ever read a comic, you instinctively know how to navigate the page. This isn't coincidence, it's by design. The entire medium is built on a few core principles that guide the reader's eyes. First, there's the left to right, top to bottom flow. This is the most basic rule. Your eye starts at the top left panel and progresses across the page like you're reading a book. Each panel contains a piece of the story, and the space between them, called the gutter, represents the passage of time. This creates a predictable and comfortable rhythm. Next, you have the grid layout. Most comics use a structured grid, often with panels of equal or similar size. This creates a sense of stability and predictability for the reader. A 3 by 3 grid, for example, is classic for a reason. It's easy to follow and provides a steady beat for the narrative. Then there's the use of panel sizes for pacing. Artists manipulate the panel size to control the rhythm of the story. A small, tight panel might show a close up of a character's anxious face, conveying a sense of immediacy. A long horizontal panel can show a character running across a landscape, creating a feeling of an extended time frame. A massive full page splash panel is used to halt the narrative completely to make for a big, dramatic statements. These are all tools in an artist's toolbox to guide the reader's experience. Finally, there's the clarity of the composition. In traditional comics, each panel is a distinct scene. The character and action are contained within the borders. The background is usually static, or at least clearly defined so that you always know where you are and what's happening. The goal is to be a transparent storyteller, making it as easy as possible for the reader to understand the narrative. Now let's look at the page here from Nonstop Spider Man #1. If you're a new reader, your first reaction might be, where do I even begin here? The page is a bit of a beautiful mess. It's exactly what the title Nonstop promises. The traditional rules, like we discussed, Bachalo kind of throws them out the window. Rule #1 that's broken: the clear left to right flow. Instead of a neat grid, Bachalo uses a series of dynamic, often slanted pages that seem to defy the clear reading order. Look at the way the panels are angled, some even breaking the page border. This isn't just for the aesthetic choice, it's actually a storytelling technique. The erratic, jagged layout forces your eye to move around the page in a way that feels just as fast and disorienting as Spider Man swinging himself. It's not just a comic page, it's a visual representation of Spider Man's inner monologue, a barrage of quick-fire thoughts and actions taking place right there on the streets of New York City. Rule #2: the gutters as a break in time. In traditional comics, the gutter gives you a moment to breathe, to relax. It's the visual cue that time has passed. Bachalo totally blurs that line completely. Panels overlap, characters and actions spill out of their borders, and the page is so filled with motion that there is no in between. His art creates a sense of continuous action, a kinetic energy that makes you feel like you're watching a film at fast forward. The gutters on this page aren't just completely empty, they're part of the composition, often filled with dialogue bubbles or sound effects that guide your eye throughout the visual anarchy. Rule #3: The clear and contained composition. This is where that chaos part really comes into play from the title. Bachalo's pages are dense with information, and he's kind of become really well known for that. He's not just drawing Spider Man, he's drawing the entire environment with a level of intricate, almost obsessive detail. Look at the textures of the architecture that's in the page here, the background characters. They're all swirling around Spider Man, adding this feeling of constant motion. Characters are rarely contained within a single panel. Instead, they break the panel borders, blurring the lines between the frames and making the action feel continuous. This is the non-stop action that is promised within the title, Nonstop Spider-Man, in its very purest form. But how does it all still work? There's the controlled part of the controlled chaos of the equation. Despite the apparent mess, Bachalo is still a master storyteller. He uses several tricks to ensure that you don't get completely lost. One of the things helping Bachalo out here is the dialogue and the sound effects. Dialogue and sound effects are absolutely crucial to make this all work. The placement of the dialogue bubbles and the automatopoeias are a must have. The lettering team here, working with Bachalo, often place these elements in a way to kind of create a path for your eyes to follow. You might find a word bubble that starts off with the upper left, like and a thwip, and that points your eye in the direction for the next panel's action. The dialogue itself acts as kind of a lifeline, guiding you through the visual storm. On top of that, Bachalo will often actually use a repeating character pose or a visual motif across multiple panels to create a sense of movement. On this page, you can see that Spider Man's body is in a similar crouched or swinging position, but slightly altered, making the frenetic action easier to track. On top of that, while Bachalo's artwork is stylized, Bachalo is excellent at using expressions to convey emotion and intent. Even in the wild energy of this page, you can always tell what Spider Man is thinking and how he's reacting, and how all of those ancillary characters are kind of caught up with the frenetic mess that is nonstop Spider Man. So Chris Bachalo's artwork, it can be jarring, it can be confusing, and it's definitely going against the grain of what we consider traditional comic art. But what he's able to achieve is a unique and powerful sense of storytelling that is perfectly suited for a character like Spider-Man, a character whose life is in constant frenzy, is a blur of action and anxiety, and quippy inner monologue. His pages are not a grid of static moments, they're a single, continuous, chaotic event. He breaks the rules, not out of ignorance, but as a way to create a new kind of visual language that perfectly matches the energy of the story that he's telling. He's using chaos as a tool, and in doing so, he's created some of the most dynamic, memorable, and yes, controlled art in the modern comic era. Thank you all so much for watching and hearing my thoughts on Bachalo's artwork, particularly on the title of Nonstop Spider-Man, but make sure that you check out every other book that he's worked on. Each one shows an evolution of his style and what he's brought to the medium here. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, and make sure that you be part of the panel and leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you next time.